This is dangerous.
Yeah.
The heck?
It's not as slippery as it looks.
No, yeah.
At first when I came down, I'm like, I'm gonna eat it.
Yeah.
You just said that.
Oh.
And then I was
Right?
like, oh, I didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't come even close to this side of the last 2 days.
Yeah.
Like the highest it came, the bank was still showing.
Yeah.
Once there's so many chrome ones around, and then twice I walk out with one.
This is yeah, you get so many wilds here. The percentage of hatchery fish out of all of the coho going up the Fraser, it's pretty small, right? There's wild coho everywhere else.
Same one?
I don't know. I didn't pull on it, so he just missed it himself.
Oh yeah, so one fish was chasing it. Okay, yeah.
I got one. I got him.
You got a chum.
I'm on.
You tag hooked a chum.
It's not a chum. I didn't even reel. It was on the drop. Yeah, just on the drop. Yeah, and it's a pretty heavy one. It's a pretty heavy one.
Oh, he's going upriver.
It's pretty heavy. It's pretty big. It's a coho. It is a coho. Why wouldn't it be a coho? Yeah, it's a big coho. That's my third cast.
It's a beginner's luck spot.
Beginner luck spot.
Me second cast. Oh, that's a big one.
I know.
Oh,
That's a big one.
That could be a hatch.
Dance band.
No, it wasn't.
I'm gonna lose it.
Not gonna.
Woohoo!
Commercial net in there.
Wow.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but it's a beauty.
Yeah. Oh, big fish. Big coho salmon.
You had a bite, remember?
That's a big fish. Oh, big and bright. Oh my god, how feisty it is. Big, wild Fraser River coho salmon. Here it is. Beauty, eh?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna let it go. Look how bright it is. Wow. Woo! This is my 30th year doing this, so you know how I discovered this? Just 1995, pink fishery finished in September, right? And I was like, okay, what else is there, right? I didn't know what's going on. Like, I didn't know about coho, whatnot. So I went for a drive. Went across River Road, past this two old guys fishing, and it had a big coho on at the time. I was like, what is that? What is that? I was like, oh, it's a coho. I was like, what's a coho? At the time, right? And yeah, that's how I figured it out, just driving around. Because there's no internet back then. No fishing with rod. Welcome to another episode of Fishing with Rod. It's November 6th, and we're fishing in the tidal portion of the Fraser River. This fishery historically has been around for several decades now, and used to open from September all the way to November. But in the past 10 years, 15 years, there have been challenges to keep this fishery open, starting with we are endangered Thompson River steelhead swimming through during October. So most of October is closed now due to that, and the fishery is usually opens around early November, and we really had to fight for the opening. A lot of emails, a lot of advocating, and that's what I've been doing the last few weeks. And finally, we got an opening. Started on November 2nd, I believe, or 3rd, and this is 3 days later, and I just got a fish. That was my third cast. Spoon was on the drop, which is pretty typical here for coho salmon. You don't have to reel, just as soon as you cast it out on the drop, sometimes they grab it right away if it hit right in front of the face. These fish are so aggressive because they just came in from the ocean, coming through the Fraser estuary, so they're not shy like what you find in the river terminal fishery. Let's get the rods out there again and get another one. I've had like fish bait on the Fraser, and the cast out the bait and the fish grabbed it on the drop. Like the bait, yeah, like you're holding it and all of a sudden like boom, like pull it down. Yeah.
Thought we'd be getting more pike.
Yeah, no, it's weird. Maybe later, you know.
It's funny. Get one. Oh, there we go. There we go. I just
Oh, there you go.
just
Fish on. Fish on. It's a nice one. Use your net.
oh wow.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yours was much bigger.
Holy. Yeah, hold it that way. Oh.
Don't worry, he's in the
Yeah, did that. Yeah, no. Yeah, did the live well. Yeah, nice. Hold on one sec. Beauty. Yeah.
guy.
It's not slippery once you get down here. It's this is like hard.
5 or 6 was probably big.
Oh, big fish. Oh. I don't think it's very big. Oh, maybe. Oh. Oh, it's a little jack. I can handle it. I can handle it. No, it's wild. Yeah, there's lots of jacks around. Little jack coho. Yeah. Oh, go on. You didn't set the hook, just kind of like. Is that a jack?
And then he hit it.
Is that an adult or jack? Adult? Looks like a jack. Yeah. That's a wild.
That's all I catch.
Yeah. This one's a little more colored, eh? Like,
Yes.
yeah. Woo. That's a nice one. That didn't take long. Yeah. For whatever reason, like we all get fish like at the very beginning, like as soon as you start. I got one on the third cast, and Brandon got one on the second cast. Oh, there's one. That's a big one. That's a big one. Oh, no, I still got it. That's a big one. Yeah. That one didn't hit very hard. That one was like.
That's why you said I didn't set the hook. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think I just ate
Yeah.
it slow drag. The other one too. Yeah, because you saw that one roll there.
Yeah.
So there's some out there. Oh, that could be a hatch.
Oh, maybe.
Pretty sure.
No, it's wild. Yeah, you hold that net and ooh, it's kind of like
I
inhaled
always
it,
dream
right?
for
And
the hatch.
then it grows out.
Then it grows. Yeah.
Hold
Such a
on a
pretty
sec.
silver fish.
Right back. Yeah, that one's smaller than the other one, right? Yeah.
Your first one.
The first one was massive. Okay, second adult coho, another wild. This one's not as big as the first one, but still beautiful. Look how bright that is. Beautiful fish. Nice. All right. Woo. Not bad. Some of our best episodes have always been fishing trips that were decided in the last minute, and today was definitely a last minute decision. I decided to head out to the Tidal Fraser River since it opened a few days ago. Now that I live in Chilliwack, having a pretty productive terminal fishery nearby, I don't tend to travel a lot to places like the Tidal Fraser River to fish for salmon. As I mentioned earlier in this video, I started out fishing for salmon in the Tidal Fraser River back in 1995. And in September, October, November, this has been a fantastic fishery. Really enjoyable, very productive, as you can see. If you time it right, you can get into quite a few coho salmon. But it's also a very important social gathering for many people. Me and my friends get together down there. We have something in common, which is fishing. We catch up and catching a few fish at the same time. I've done this particular video many times now, and every year once this fishery comes up, I always get a lot of questions, so I feel like I need to repeat myself and do it every year, which I don't mind. Just want to go over a little bit about what I was using for this particular fishery. For the Tidal Fraser River, this year they put a bait ban on this opening so that you cannot use bait like roe, etc. So you have to cast and retrieve spoons and spinners. And to cast and retrieve spoons and spinners using a spinning rod and reel outfit. This particular rod is a G.Loomis GCX rod. It's a brand new series coming out by G.Loomis. And it's my go-to spinning rod for coho salmon this year so far. Absolutely love it, but it is a pretty pricey fishing rod. It retails around $500. You don't have to invest on that much to catch coho salmon. You can get a spinning rod that's less than $100 and still work just as fine. But the important part is to pick the right one, the right rating, and also the right length. So this particular one is 9 feet long. Anywhere from 6.5 feet to 9 feet is what you're looking for. The longer the rod, the further you can cast. And the rating of the rod should be anywhere from, so this one is 6 to 12 pound test. So 6 to 10, 6 to 12, 8 to 12 pound, even 8 to 17, which is getting slightly heavier than, or ideal for coho salmon. So with the spinning rod, we have a Shimano 2500 or 3000 size spinning reel to go with it. This particular one is a Shimano Stratic. It's an excellent reel. It's my go-to reel. It's a workhorse. I've had it for many years. It works really well. Again, you don't have to spend too much on a high-end spinning reel to catch coho salmon. You can get a Shimano Sedona 2500, which is around $100, or Shimano Nasky, which is about $150. They all work really well. Something to keep in mind is that the high-end spinning reel, which I tend to recommend people to spend a bit more on, to invest on, instead of spending more on the rod, is that a high-end spinning reel lasts a lot longer. This particular reel doesn't require a whole lot of maintenance. When you're fishing in the silty Fraser River, there's a lot of sand, a lot of silt that can get into the reel. But having really good seals means that this reel can last a long time without too much maintenance. I take it out, fish for the day, bring back. I don't really do anything with it, and I can keep going over and over again, do that, and I might clean it and oil it at the end of the season, and then it's brand new again. With the cheaper reel, the seals are not as good, so you tend to run into problem with it wouldn't work as properly after a season or so. So it's entirely up to you. Do you rather spend money on a cheap reel that will last 1 or 2 seasons, or would you spend on something like this, which is it retails around $300, that would last for, I don't know, this one particular one is up to 8 years, and it still works as new. Anyways, so the spinning reel is spooled with a 15-pound test Power Pro braided line. I switched to braided line back in 2014 and no regrets. Love it. It's thin, it's strong, you can cast really far with it. There's no stretch, so you don't lose, you can detect more bites and you don't lose as many fish. So 15 pound, or you can use 20 pound on there as well. And at the end of the braided line, I put a section roughly around 4 to 6 feet long of fluorocarbon, Seaguar fluorocarbon line, and I use 15-pound test, which is quite a bit heavier than most of the fish you're targeting in this fishery. The coho salmon that range between 4 and 10 pounds, but I tend to go a little heavier on the fluorocarbon because there's so much casting and retrieving. I wanted to, it does get abrasion and stuff. So for durability, I tend to go a little heavier on the fluorocarbon line. Okay, and so at the end of the fluorocarbon leader, by the way, from the braided line to the fluorocarbon, I use an improved Albright knot to tie the two together. You can use swivel if you want to connect the two, but then your leader has to be quite a bit shorter. You can't cast 6 feet of leader hanging out from the rod tip. So a 2 feet long leader, it's actually fine because the Fraser being so silty, that these fish are not leader shy. So at the end of the fluorocarbon line, I tie a spoon or spinner, and you have several choices what I've been using. So these prime Lewis glory spoons are pretty big in profile. They're very thin, and these would be great for fishing in the terminal fishery like the Chilliwack River, where there's quite a bit of current. You cast this out, it flutters quite a bit, produces a lot of action, it's very visible. Coho salmon love these in the Chilliwack or Stave or Chehalis River, Harrison, etc. For the Tidal Fraser River, it does work, but I tend to go with the prime Lewis wiggler spoon. So you can see this spoon is quite a bit thinner and it's quite a bit thicker as well. So it's very compact, it's pretty heavy for its size, and it can cast very far because of that. Being a little thinner, it can cut through the wind, and it gets pretty windy in the Fraser like today at times, so it's very important to get that distance out by using this lure. And it has pretty good action as well when it swims in the water, and coho salmon love these. So prime Lewis wigglers, and this is a size, I don't believe it says on there, it could be like somewhere around 3/8 ounce. I'll leave a link on the website for you to go, I'll leave a link in the description below for you to go check it out, and you can, anything I talk about, you can find the links below in the description. So, timing of this fishery. This week, today, we had a really big incoming tide in the morning, huge incoming tide, and I'm going to say this is probably the last big push of coho salmon we're going to see in the Fraser River for 2025. These fish coming with a huge incoming tide, and some of the best fishing happens right after the peak of that tide. So as the tide peaks and it starts dropping gradually, and that's when the fishing gets really good. Yeah, and the incoming tide part can be pretty good as well. So today, I think the tide peaked around 9:30 in the morning, and we fished from around 9 o'clock until noon, and we had bites throughout that outgoing tide, that gradual outgoing tide after the peak. So, and one thing very important besides the fishing rod and reel, you can see it's pretty simplistic in this fishery. You carry your spinning rod and reel, and you carry a box of lures. You really don't need to change too much. It's, these fish are traveling through the tidal Fraser all the time. They're not stationary, so you're casting towards new fish all the time. So they're not very picky when it comes to what lure they're gonna grab and stuff. But one thing that's very important to have is this catch and release net. This particular one is made by Prime Lure, it just came out, it's a new product. It's got a huge hoop, and so you can't miss the fish usually. But what's more important is this rubber mesh, it's fish friendly. So it's a catch and release net, and which allows you to net the fish. And because you can't keep all of the fish that you catch in the Fraser River right now, you can keep hatchery coho salmon, you have to release wild coho salmon, you have to release trout salmon, Chinook salmon, etc. It's good to have a fish-friendly net with a soft rubber mesh, so that when you net a fish that you can't keep, you can handle it safely and then release it so they can make it their way to the spawning ground and spawn successfully. And that's the whole point of catching and releasing these fish. So carbon fiber frame is very light, and it's got a very deep bag. So as you can see early in the video, when we net these fish, once they're in the net, in the bag, they can't really get out. And if you pay attention to the video closely, at one point Brandon did drop the fish while it's in the net, and it just went straight down and it couldn't get out. So that's the advantage of having a pretty deep bag. So catch and release net, just don't go get a net, any net. A catch and release net is very important in the fishery where you have mandatory release of some of the species. So that's pretty much it to cover for when it comes to the gear that you need to use for the Tidal Fraser River fishery. Now comes the boring part, so we're going to talk a little bit about this. I kind of briefly mentioned a little bit earlier is the politics of this opening, which kind of frustrates me a little bit because I've been involved in dealing with this for the last 20 plus years, and it seems like we still haven't made a lot of progress. Historically, in the past few decades, the full coho salmon fishery in the Tidal Fraser River would open around September. Back in the mid-90s, we'll enjoy this fishery in mid-September, and it will last all the way through October, November, and even part of December as well. So you have quite a few months to enjoy that. The challenges came in the last 2 decades when, because the Tidal Fraser, it's a mixed stock fishery, meaning that while you're targeting hatchery coho salmon, there are also other species going through as well. Some are abundant, some are endangered, and that's where the problem comes in. So in the past 10 years, what we've been struggling with is the interior Fraser steelheads, which are endangered. Townsend River steelhead, Chilcotin River steelhead, the return annually, it's roughly around 100 fish, which are very, very low. So even just by catching one fish can have a huge impact on the entire population. So because they're endangered, we have this rolling closure window that came into effect for all fisheries, not just recreational fisheries, but First Nations and commercial fisheries. Starting in mid-September until the end of October is 45 days. So during this time, the Tidal Fraser River is off limit to everybody, okay? So theoretically, right after that rolling closure, which ends around, depending on which section of the Fraser, so between Steveston and Portman Bridge is October 30th, that's the last day of the closure. From Portman Bridge to Mission, it's November 1st, that's the last day. So theoretically, after that closure, the river should open up automatically for hatchery coho salmon fishing. Yet, the Department of Fisheries in Canada, Fish and Oceans, have not done that in the last few years. And the opening has always been decided, announced the day before the opening, which to me is really frustrating. I'm sure it's very frustrating for you all as well as an angler, because we're not commercial fishermen. We don't just sit around and wait for opening announcements and go on the next day. This is a recreation for us, so we are planning our fisheries, our day to fish, way in advance. In the ideal world, what I like to see is having these opening dates announced and published 1 or 2 months in advance before the opening. So you know that on October 31st, you can go fish between Steveston and the Portman Bridge for hatchery coho salmon. So you can plan to take the day off from work and to do so. But the department doesn't seem to think this is very important, and that we can just announce the fishery in the last minute, or even delay those opening a little bit like we've seen this year. So this year it was delayed by several days, and that to me is not really acceptable, okay? Why is this fishery important? For several reasons. We are seeing less opportunities here in the lower mainland when it comes to salmon fishing opportunities every year. And because there are less opportunities, we're confined into several more productive fisheries like the Vidder River, like the Harrison, the Chehalis, the State River. And that's not very fun. It degrades the quality of the fishery when you putting more people into one confined area. It's more crowded. Even though the fishery, the fish abundance is very high, the quality of the fishery, the fishing experiences has gone down, as you may have noticed. And that's all because we've had reduced opportunities, reduce opening times and places, and now you're forced to fish in all these different just individual fisheries that are left that we have in the lower mainland. We get it. So October is closed to protect Thompson River steelhead. We accept that, but as soon as that closure ends, that protection ends, we should be able to go fish the Tidal Fraser River on October 31st. And that to me is really important. It spreads out the fishing pressure. You don't have to travel as far to the Chilliwack River, to other terminal fisheries. You can just go out from Vancouver. It only takes half an hour to drive down to the Fraser River to go fish, to go enjoy some coho salmon fishing. That's one thing. Second thing is that the terminal fisheries like the Villa River is not as kid friendly, or it's not very friendly for seniors or any anglers who have mobility challenges. So because it's a safety issue. It's harder to walk on loose gravel, on big hopping on big rocks. It's just not realistic for some of the anglers to be experiencing those particular fisheries. The Tidal Fraser River fisheries, it's much more ideal for this group of anglers. You can go down to, like you saw today, you can go down to a sandy beach on the mud flat and set up a rod and just fish that way. There are many places that are way more kid-friendly, senior-friendly, and friendly for anglers who have mobility challenges. So that's very important, and we lack those opportunities for this demographic. Okay, so there's really no reason to delay this fishery. I know there's talks about concerns on impacts on chum salmon in this Tidal Fraser hatchery coho salmon fishery, which to me seems absurd because the currently in the Tidal Fraser River fishery we have a First Nation FSC fishery, full social ceremonial fishery for chum salmon. So chum salmon are being harvested by the thousands, and you're going to worry about bycatches of chum salmon in the recreational fishery where all the chum salmon have to be released if they're caught. And let me tell you, in 30 years, targeting coho salmon in the Tidal Fraser River, I can count the number of bycaught chum salmon with one hand. Chum salmon behave very similar to sockeye salmon when they enter the Tidal Fraser River. They don't really bite. Their whole mission is to travel through this migratory corridor. They just don't stop. I've had many occasions when you've had just hundreds of chum salmon rising in front of you in the Tidal Fraser River and casting spoons and spinners, and I wouldn't get a single take. They don't usually grab bait, and if they do, it might be one fish out of every 50 coho that you catch. So chum salmon bycatches shouldn't really be a concern. So I don't know why we have this delay of opening every year. Every year in September, I will write emails to remind resource managers to have this fishery open. The problem is the turnover rate of resource managers in this area is quite fast at the moment. In fact, we don't have any resource managers taking care of this fishery in the lower mainland. We actually have temporary resource managers based out of Kamloops overseeing these fisheries right now. And the problem is they are not very aware of the background of these fisheries. So being involved in the Sport Fishing Advisory Committee in the last 20 years, I find myself and my colleagues find themselves to be doing the educating part whenever there's a new resource manager coming in, educating them the background of each fishery, so they're well aware of the importance of these fisheries. And a lot of times is that by the time you finish educating them, a new resource manager jumps in, and then the whole process starts over again. It's very frustrating. I don't know what the solution is. This is basically a rant to you, and to tell you that there's people working behind the scene on this, and what you can do is actually to voice, if this fishery is important to you, to voice your concerns to your local MPs, okay? And get involved in the Sport Fishing Advisory Committee if you want to have an opinion, or join one of the groups such as the BC Federation of Drift Fishers, BC Wildlife Federation. They represent you, they have a voice on the committee as well. And also me, I'm one of the committee members, and I'm constantly trying to take your feedbacks and voice your concerns, and hopefully we can make a difference as well. Anyways, that's a long rant. I don't want to go on about it. I can talk forever about this, and it is frustrating, but at the same time I feel like I do have an invested interest to be doing this, but at the same time I do also want to see sustainable fisheries happen, and that we can go out and enjoy them. So yeah, anyways, if you have any questions regarding this, make sure you leave a comment on the bottom. I'd love to hear about your experiences on fishing in the Tidal Fraser River for salmon this year. And yeah, and make sure you subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this video. And until next time, good luck fishing.